both of them were underwhelmed. The Liberal was obviously a little more harsh in the speech, but both of them were kind of like, well, we thought he didn't really do everything he needed to do, and it was a little bit flat, and it seemed like, the comment I really remember was they said, it seemed like at the end that the crowd was like getting excited, was getting louder to give him a boost because his speech had been kind of flat the whole time, and that they were boosting him at the end. And it's funny they said that because I kind of thought that too. Just listening to it, I was like, I was like, wow, the crowd's like.
See, the first time I heard it, and I can see that now, but the first time I heard it, I really thought that was like an honest reaction to what he was saying, because he was talking. It was kind of like the end of the pep speech, the pep talk. You know, like you're a coach in a locker room, and at the end you go, and we're gonna go out and beat them. You know, and I felt like that was a little bit of what the end of his speech was. And when I looked at it at Fox News.
You're right, and I didn't even think about it. As it was happening, I didn't think, gee, it's like a pep rally, they're pumping him up. But I did feel something weird about it. Mm-hmm. And I felt like, I was like, because I didn't know it was the end of the speech. It was just, it was just going on. I didn't know it was the end, so I was like, why are they screaming right now? He's just kind of, and I gotta say, it seemed to me that the end of the speech was just full of a lot of platitudes and a lot of cliches. And it was just one right after another.
Well, that's.
I'd love to have it in front of me and read
the cliches. I think they're going to be on.
They're going to be anywhere. I just thought he packed them all.
Speech.
I just thought he packed them all into the end, like in a really weird way.
Well, at the end, it was rallying. It was rallying the team. It was what a basketball coach or a football coach would do in the locker room right before the last, the second half or the last period.
Right.
They'd say, hey,
sure,
this is the time, we're going to do it now. And they'd throw out every cliche, and those of you in the audience who play sports, you'll know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about,
Go team, rah rah. Yeah, well, I get it. And, but you actually kind of felt a little bit, watching it maybe the second time, that it was pumped up a little bit at the end?
I'll have to recuse myself, because the second time I watched it, I kind of was paying more attention to the camera work, and so I kind of missed the audio part of the end of the speech. And I think we had turned it down also. I was watching at a friend's house, and I remember thinking I want to watch how that part of the speech is, and I didn't get it to be able to comment on it. Now, underwhelmed. It doesn't surprise me, because, like I said before, and one of the reasons I think Sarah Palin was a good pick, he's not the most charismatic person.
Right.
I think when he was younger, if you look at the video of when he was younger, I think he was pretty darn charismatic. Probably at that point.
Yeah.
I just think that now, he might feel just a little bit out of his element in that venue, the teleprompter speech. I think his, and I was listening to a commentator, I won't tell you who it was, at the end of one of the speeches, one of the versions, and he said, his venue is with a microphone in the hand, walking amongst people in, more informal, ad hoc forum.
Right.
That's his best comfort zone. So, and I would argue Barack Obama is almost the exact reverse. I think Barack Obama really excels in that venue where he's in front of a crowd, a large crowd with a speech prepared and teleprompters. I think that where McCain is better than him is in the smaller venues where he's in front of a...
We'll see, won't we?
Well, I think the Rick Warren Forum, kind of shows a little bit of that.
Yeah, but that was a totally different venue. I mean, that was a one-guy audience venue.
Yeah, and Barack, he was probably in a slightly antagonistic audience, though a lot of his supporters showed up. I know that because I saw some interviews at the end.
Okay.
Or read about some
interviews.
So
what did you think of Obama's speech?
It was good. It was a good speech. He's a good orator. Content-wise, rhetoric-wise, that's where obviously I disagree with him respectfully about where the country is and where he wants it to go.
You know what we should do? We should do a commentary over these speeches. You and I, like
Mr.
sports
Science Theater,
like
3000.
sports announcers.
Oh my
That
gosh.
would be great. We just
would be great.
We put the video up there and we just add our own audio track. Like, oh, look at that. I mean, that would be so great. Like on the DVD extra.
That would be good. That's a good idea.
Because I feel like we need to go piece by piece along these speeches. Because I feel like even in Obama's speech, there were lots of things that you could relate to. Like he said something, you know, he had a couple moments where he was like, you know, I really want to bring everybody together. I know it's not just rhetoric. It's really, I do want to find the common ground. And I think in his own book, if you read his book, in his own career, he's shown that he can help find that common ground in between the two extremes. And he says, you know, maybe we can't agree on abortion, but we can at least agree that we want to reduce the unwanted pregnancies in this country. Maybe we can't agree on X, but we can at least agree on this. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Things like that are just transcendent. That you know.
I think that is heartfelt. I think that McCain had the same heartfeltness in his speech about wanting to do better for the country and bring people together. And you know, he even I don't know if you noticed this, but in his speech, I think it was in his speech, he mentioned bringing people from Democrats, Republicans, Independents into his White House. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
It might not have been a speech. It might have been a separate.
But I feel like both of them
correspondence.
would do that.
I think they both probably would. You know, I know that Obama's publicly stated that.
Yeah, but I just feel like I just feel like when they talk about change, there's no contest in who would be, you know, change, who would be more change. I mean, even if McCain did bring in some independents and Republicans, I mean, and Democrats into the White House, he'd still have a good chunk of all the Bush people. He'd still have those remnants of the Bush people, and it would be a lot of the same. Even if it was a lot different, it would be a lot the same.
I think that the predominant part where it would be the same or similar would be the foreign policy. And in that specific instance, I would say good, because I think that the foreign policy track that we're on is
disastrous.
Good.
Disastrous.
Good.
It's pulling us down the
Now
drain.
listen, let's talk about, I'm glad we started this conversation, because let's talk about Obama's vote against the surge. And let's talk about what that surge did.
Okay.
Let's
Sure.
talk about, and oh, by the way, we can lump Biden into this, because ever since '73, he's had a voting record in the Senate that has gone against most of our foreign policy decisions, including the Gulf War. He voted against the Gulf War, and he voted against, you know, supporting the Contras in Nicaragua.
Okay.
But anyway, let's talk about the only one that matters in recent history, which is the surge. Now, McCain was very unpopular when he went out and said we need more troops. When everybody else was saying we're lost, it's all lost, it's all woe is me, the country needs to get out. Right?
Well, he was not the only one who's been saying it. People have been saying we need
not
more
the only
troops.
one?
Colin
He was not
Powell
the only
said
one. You're
when
right.
we went in, Colin Powell, who by the way was
Even-
excoriated by the administration and kicked out on his ass, Colin Powell, who said we need to go in there with overwhelming force, and nobody listened to him. And if we had done that from the beginning, we might not even be talking about it right now.
Yeah, okay, that's true. And
Okay.
Colin Powell probably had the better judgment in that case. I will say that.
Definitely.
But I also say the administration has the right to fire or hire whoever they see.
And be judged for it. And be held responsible for it, which none of them have.